Prince Harry has finally confirmed that he will attend the King's coronation next month, but without his wife Meghan and children Archie and Lilibet. This latest coronation drama adds to a long list of problems related to the ceremony, including claims that the firm is going too far to appeal to Harry and Meghan's woke base. So John Elliott Gardner, who will conduct the Monteverdi choir, admitted his surprise in an interview with The Times at the number of diversity boxes the King felt he had to tick when deciding on the ceremony's music. And it comes as the monarch backed an independent study into the royal family's links to the Atlantic slave trade. And you've also gotten this one, wound me up a lot, I have to say, Prince William appointing the Queen of Woke, the former New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, to the board of his Earthshot Prize. So is the monarchy accidentally out-woking Harry and Meghan? Joining me now to discuss this, royal historian, our very own David Starkey. But David, look, I have to start off with your reaction to this compromise deal. Harry will be here. Meghan stays in California with the young prince and princess.
It must be the first time he's been apart from her forever, isn't it? Here is this poor man, he's like a dog collar, trotting obediently behind her. But I think there's a bigger question. What on earth is Harry going to do in Westminster Abbey? And this shows again where I think the King has gone so badly wrong. He abolished the whole notion of doing homage apart from William. Now imagine if he kept that idea. For Harry to turn up, he would have to kneel down in the old days in front of his father, raise his hands up there and swear fealty. Now, wouldn't we all have enjoyed that?
I think I'd pay good money to
I
see
think
that.
that's right. And this shows why the King is so foolish, and I'm going to use that word, to have abandoned tradition.
But this is because he wants to appeal to the fans of Harry and Meghan. Would you just say that's futile?
I think it's...
You're never going to...
I think you're using very kind, long words. I'd say it's stupid.
Good, I like
what
that.
the King is doing is saying, I am going to appeal to people who don't like the monarchy. Now, this is mad. When The Guardian or The New Statesman write a favourable article on the monarchy, it's through gritted teeth. These are people who would tear the crown from his head in 5 seconds, and what he's doing really is spitting in the face of those who are non-woke, who are fundamentally royalist. And it seems it's a bit like these radio stations that decide they don't like their audiences, so they sack all their favourite presenters. They play music that their fan base hates, and you know what? They're then very surprised when their numbers decline.
Yeah, indeed, but for that same reason, though, I actually wanted King Charles personally to rip up Harry and Meghan's invitation. I mean, I don't think he should have invited them in the first place. I know a lot of people say that's ridiculous. He's the son. He's still in the line of succession. But I don't think he should have bent over backwards to have them.
I'm certainly right. You used exactly the right word. But you see, I think, although we're making a big deal of it, I think Harry is a sideshow. The fundamental...
Because Meghan's not there? Or just
No, just in general. I mean, he's way down the order of succession. It's simply that we insist in the media in talking about it.
So why does he need to be there, then?
Pardon?
Why does he need to be there, given he seems to hate this institution?
That's right. I mean, but again, poor Harry is torn, Charles is torn. They are father and son. There is a residual fondness, there's a residual love, and so on. But each one of them now finds themselves in this extraordinary... It's like one of those one of those Spanish dances where you suddenly come together, then you come apart and you strut. It's that sort of thing.
But if Meghan had been there, would she have been more than a sideshow? Would she have...
Well, she'd have tried to steal the show, because, of course, this was always the point.
And she was planning to. William was actually worried about that.
Yes, but you see, I think, again... This is misconceived. If, again, you would maintain the traditional structure of a coronation, there is no doubt who is in charge. I mean, the entire service is a magnificent series of processions, of movements, of anointing, of presentations, of objects and whatever. It focuses on one person and one other person, on the King and the Queen.
And you think
and
Charles
everybody
has tried
else.
to modernise it too?
I think that what Charles has done is to destroy the theatre and the purpose. So the two things have gone badly wrong, and they're both fundamental. He said, right, we're not going to have members of the House of Lords. If you think I'm so ancient, I remember the last coronation. And if you remember the last coronation, the House of Lords, they're a bit like the chorus in an opera. They're all there in scarlet and white. They're this magnificent backdrop to the theatre. Now what you're going to have is an abbey filled with Ngozi Fulani. And you're going to have a wallpaper of leopard skin print, rather like bar stools in Las Vegas. I mean, the total visual chaos, you'll destroy that. But there's something else. The king has not explained ever, and nobody's explained on his behalf, why the coronation matters. Instead, what we've happened is this ridiculous drip feed of little stories about this ivory rod, this jewel. In other words, it's an exercise of trivia.
Yeah, because I think they're scared of the reaction. They're always scared of the reaction. In fact, you raise Ngozi Fulani, that's why they reacted so fast and they made the wrong decision.
They made the wrong decision.
And don't you also think that's why they made the wrong decision by immediately giving in to The Guardian over the royal reparations?
Well, it's deranged. There is no case. By the way, The Guardian has no case for reparations. The Guardian is founded, can you imagine? The Guardian is founded after the abolition of slavery, and yet it persuades itself it's somehow guilty for slavery. This is a kind of delusion of the mind. But of course, as applied to the monarchy, the problem is this. When people say, oh, we want to explore the links of the monarchy to slavery, that's not what they're really saying is. What they want to do is to destroy the historical legitimacy of the monarchy. The slave trade and Britain's Britain's real involvement in it is being used as a historical battering ram to destroy the historic... Monarchy is history or it's nothing. And I think the king does not realise this. This constant talk of modernisation, that is not what it's about.
And also, the great thing is, in this country, right, the vast, vast majority of the population do not particularly want the royal family to modernise, are very happy with the traditional royal family, actually have been pretty happy.
In fact, you know,
with King Charles.
There's something, he began very well. There's something really remarkable. The scale of royal ceremony that we have now, do you know it was invented when democracy comes in? Before democracy, royal ceremony was... have you ever been at a ceremony at a university, at Oxford or Cambridge, where everything is sort of a bit casual because it's all between friends? It's once the royal family knew that it had to perform to a huge audience. This is what happens with at the beginning of the 20th century, when everything that we're going to see, or the bits of it that will survive, you construct a deliberate theatre for it. The front of Buckingham Palace is only put on in the summer of 1913. The Mall is only laid out as the monument to Queen Victoria. You deliberately construct it as a theatre to show off monarchy to the people.
Which is already modern enough. Thank you very much. And look, just to very quickly say, you're obviously going to be a big part of our coverage of the coronation here on GB News, and I believe some special projects coming from...
Well, we're actually making documentaries. First time GB News has made documentaries. And what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to say the coronation is just not a lot of mystical ritual. It's the fundamental compact between the king and his people. It's a contract, and it's the reason that we're governed well, governed properly, and that we are... Let's end on this word. You're an American, a royal republic, and the oldest and the best and the longest lived.